was kind of like caught in a cycle of waking up, feeling awful, staring at myself in a mirror, talking to myself in a mirror, promising myself that this was the last day. And then by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, making plans to do something else. The whole higher power God piece, it's like, it's not about coming up with a system or something. It's just realizing it's not you. You just get past it's not you. Derek World didn't work. Maybe it's better to give something else a chance. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Welcome to the Daily Reflection Podcast with your hosts Michael L. and Lee M. On this show, we try to provide inspiration through interviews with members of the recovery community. We are not aligned with any 12-step or recovery programs, but you will hear them mentioned throughout the course of an interview. Today on the show, Derek A. from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Derek shares on the concept of being active, not passive. Before we get to the show, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we'd love to get a review, a rating from you. That would help us expand the reach of the show, maybe possibly reach more newcomers. Lee and I would greatly appreciate that. Hope you enjoy this episode. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. What is going on for today?
Well, today we have Derek A. from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here to share with us on the daily reflection for today, of course, which is active, not passive.
Awesome. Well, Derek, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Great. Thanks for having me.
So maybe you could introduce yourself. Let the audience know who you are, where you're from.
Well, originally from Houston, Texas. I was born and raised there through high school and 1 year at college in Texas. And then I moved up to New Jersey and then did all of my college in New Jersey at Rutgers. And then I went over to England for a year, came back, did grad school at Columbia University in the early 90s. And then at that point, I just kind of lived in New York for a long period of time until I met my wife and moved to Philadelphia, I guess, in 2012.
Terrific. Well, it's great to have you on the show. We start the show out the same way every day. We ask for the guests to read the daily reflection. Would you mind starting us off?
March 24th, active, not passive. Man is supposed to think and act. He wasn't made in God's image to be an automaton, as Bill sees at page 55. Before I joined AA, I often did not think and reacted to people and situations. When not reacting, I acted in a mechanical fashion. After joining AA, I started seeking daily guidance from a power greater than myself and learning to listen for that guidance. Then I began to make decisions and act on them rather than react to them. The results have been constructive. I no longer allow others to make decisions for me and then criticize me for it. Today and every day, with a heart full of gratitude and a desire for God's will to be done through me, my life is worth sharing, especially with my fellow alcoholics. And above all, if I do not make a religion out of anything, even AA, then I can be an open channel for God's expression.
I love that. How does that resonate with you today as you read it?
Well, at least for me, when I was really kind of stuck in my addiction, I wasn't able to really kind of plan or take control of anything. I was kind of like just caught in a cycle of waking up, feeling awful, staring at myself in a mirror, talking to myself in a mirror, promising myself that this was the last day. And then by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, making plans to do something else. For when I was at its worst, I just felt like I wasn't able to, it was so much management of managing the addiction and then managing all the attendant lies that go with it. So yeah, I think in recovery, that just a lot of people are very grateful for the things that they have. And I'm grateful for the things that I do have, but I'm very grateful for the things I don't have, which is being a slave to all of the anxiety and all of the managing all of the BS that goes along with trying to maintain it. And in many ways, you just kind of lose control of your life or not active in it. you're kind of, something else is controlling you. So for me, I've just been able to make plans. I've been able to kind of wake up, seize control of my day most days, and finally just kind of start thinking about things other than how to manage my dysfunction.
And the reflection talks about sharing with fellow alcoholics. How do you do that today?
Well, mainly I have a home group in Philadelphia that I was going to brick and mortar until the pandemic, and then we meet on our Zoom calls. That's kind of the extent of the sharing that I do with alcoholics, is through the group. I mean, I'm not really out there meeting a lot of people in active addiction because, one, just being locked away, and frankly, I'm almost 2 years sober, and that first year was really sort of like a triage situation of stemming the bleeding, cauterizing the wound, addressing the wound, which didn't, there wasn't a lot of room there outside of my initial kind of service to the group, being an intergroup representative, getting into some sort of service. I wasn't really out there trying to support fellow addicts. I think I'm coming to almost completing my first cycle through the steps. And I kind of told myself that I really didn't feel comfortable sponsoring or getting into too much service until I completed the steps at least once.
So the reflection says that, it just says at the top, before I joined AA, I often did not think and reacted to people and situations. And when I wasn't reacting, I was just acting in a mechanical fashion.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because everything was filtered through the, everything was premised on hiding or lying or, moving money around, or just, I had a very strict set of scriptures that I had to kind of maintain to keep the whole addiction project going, whether I liked it or not. I kind of sleptwalk through a lot of stuff that I regret. Sort of the finer things in life just kind of fall by the wayside. A lot of nuance and a lot of options are kind of taken away from you when you're trying to manage an addiction.
Like what kind of things?
Being in the moment, I think, the idea of just like, really just kind of taking stock of where you're at and where you're going, because you're so immersed in this sort of, this self-imposed cycle of behavior. I just, now it's just sort of, without all that anxiety, I feel I can actually make plans for the future. I wake up in the morning. I don't like go through a routine that I used to go through. Now my routine is one of meditation and journaling, and sometimes creative endeavors that I'm involved in, art or music or whatever, or reading. But my big ones are, my journaling and my meditation, where I actually actively listen to the voice that I need to listen to, which is kind of taking stock of myself. So when I was kind of searching to, I guess when I first kind of came out to my wife about being an addict, it was very painful. It was a huge upheaval, cataclysmic kind of situation, a lot of shame. And that first year, it's just a lot of trying to just kind of get over that. I mean, and then finally, as time progressed, and I went through outpatient rehab and weekly or bi-weekly therapy, and then my AA program, I've kind of been able to kind of take more control of my life and then participate in it and actually be present for it with my friends and my family.
It's beautiful. It's one of the promises. So I'm hearing a little bit about shame and guilt of the past. How do you feel like the program has given you tools to deal with those things?
Well, I guess maybe the chance in the morning to just kind of check in. And when I go through my meditation, I kind of try to find I do it to be consistent, and sometimes it works for me in the moment. Sometimes it's sort of a long-term project, but I think sometimes, I think the idea of just kind of checking in with myself very deliberately and on a consistent basis to the point where you're just, How do I feel? How does my body feel? What's that lump in your stomach? Or what's the butterfly in your stomach? Sometimes it's something that got said, or a confrontation or a conversation that didn't fully resolve the day before, that I, hell, when I was in active addiction, I avoided conflict, because that was just like something, I would just be like shut down, isolate, certainly never like listen to never listen to my body, obviously, and ignore and not really face down those things, those the difficult conversations that need to be had in day-to-day life. You just kind of withdraw from that. And now I listen to my body. I listen to my, a lot of times anxiety and stress and kind of problems that you have actually have physical manifestations, if you learn to listen to your body, you can pretty much figure out that there's something going on that you haven't dealt with, or something got said that you didn't respond to the way you wanted to. So I think tools of just kind of slowing down, and also like eventually learning to lose the shame, because it's not constructive, to just kind of let go and to just kind of be in the moment, try to show compassion for yourself and for people around you, and particularly people who are newcomers and people who are fighting an active physical compulsion. I feel like I think the program has definitely made me more empathetic, without a doubt. I did buy into the stigma of addiction. I definitely would call myself names, like something out of a movie, like Travis Bickle, Taxi Driver, where he talks to himself in the mirror. That was me talking to myself in the mirror, only I didn't have like a firearm at the end of a drawer mechanism. Mine was like, you got this, you can control this is your last day. And then I think the program gave me the tools to realize of like, I need to give myself over to something greater than myself, and to a system and to a set of principles that, that many people have been through before. And it's working for me now.
That's amazing.
I love what you said about the shame piece. I mean, it certainly was my constant companion for the whole 48 years before I got here. And
you're a late bloomer too.
I'm a late bloomer. And one of the miracles of recovery has been that I no longer have to walk in that space anymore. And, just the ability to cut myself some slack and show myself some grace has, like you said, also been able to be extended to all the other people in the world. But it says here in the reflection that after joining AA, I started seeking daily guidance from a power greater than myself and learning to listen for that guidance. And then I began to make decisions and act on them rather than react on them. And I think I'm hearing you talk a little bit about that higher power in the piece that you just shared. And I wonder if you would share with the audience, what your higher power looks like to you and how you sort of came to believe in whatever that is for you.
I'm a pretty fairly kind of, fairly analytical person in that, maybe it's not the most graceful way, but I felt like it was a piece I needed to figure out, and, for my third step. And so I came to realize that, or I thought about it was that, that I believe in a group consciousness, and I can't explain why animals, evolve, but they do. And it's something that I don't have an explanation for, something greater than myself. So I cobbled together my higher power, if I had to put in some sort of diagram or whatever. I don't know. This is very, very hackneyed, but I came to believe that, that a group conscious could change behavior, could change me, could change others. That's sort of the way I conceived of it about 18 months ago. I mean, it's what I needed to kind of get started. I just believe that, if I just listen to myself in the morning, stay off of drugs and alcohol, go to my meetings, and not convince myself that I have it all figured out and that's okay. And that if I, it's actually like listening to people and what they've been through, that I find that to be instructive. But I do, I can't explain why, good things have started happening just because I've become a better listener and a better, more empathetic person, and decided to kind of take my foot off the gas. Yeah, I don't know how graceful that is as an explanation of a higher power, but it's an ongoing project, I guess. A guy who's been in the program in my group longer than me, so got like years and years on me. He's just sort of like, the whole higher power God piece. It's like, it's not about coming up with a system or something. It's just realizing it's not you. You just get past it's not you. Derek World didn't work. Maybe it's better to give something else a chance. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I love the simplicity in that. That's beautiful. I'm hearing gratitude for your sobriety, for each day.
Oh man.
What else are you grateful for? What else has the program given you in terms of the promises?
Man, I'm just so grateful to not have that anxiety every day. It's more of like I'm grateful for things I do have, but man, I'm really grateful for things I don't have. I don't have that monkey on my back. I'm so grateful I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul or moving money here and there. I'm really grateful I'm not thinking about trying to keep my lives straight. I'm really grateful that I'm not hungover. I'm really grateful that I'm fully present with my children and my family, with my child and my family. I'm really grateful for the degree of humility that all of this, has come from all of this. I'm just really grateful for the chance to kind of, get in touch with my life and really just kind of like slow it down, take stock, stop looking out the window of a speeding train, more like, take my shoes off and walk in the meadow for once. It's been really nice. It's been really nice. And I'm really grateful for the people that show up to my group every day or every other day or every week, and the people that, are patient and that are willing to share, and kind of fearlessly just kind of overshare and give the best of themselves and share the worst of themselves. To it goes a long way, that shame piece of just realizing you're not alone in having screwed things up or being irresponsible or having done the wrong thing or indulged yourself to the point of kind of delusion.
What do you tell the newcomer that you meet in the rooms?
Well, I haven't met any newcomers recently. I've usually just watched them over the Zoom calls. I guess the main thing for me, man, is just the whole thing of check the shame. Just it's okay. It's okay. You're not alone. Many people have screwed this up. Many people have fallen victim to this disease. I think if you can check that initial kind of, that embarrassment and the stigma, if you can check all of that and just kind of relax and just give yourself over to, just concentrate on the day, what you got to do, which is mainly don't put chemicals in your body. That's just sort of the one guy when I first got started was just like, your job is to just do the next right thing. So, when I was scrambling around trying to recover in a week, I realized it's not a linear project. It's really a cycle. You kind of, and once it's taken, takes some doing to kind of realize that, it's, I don't know, Groundhog Day, I guess, have some compassion with that. Every day is a new chance to kind of start over. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up too much, because there's plenty of people willing to do that for you.
Amen. Have you forgiven yourself? Do you need to?
I think I have to some extent. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have my shudder moments. I have my moments where I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. But I try to just remind myself of, just be mindful of, be mindful of what you've done, but like realize that like, it doesn't define, the worst things that you've done don't define you as a person. I have to believe that, what was it Robert Downey Jr. said? Something was like, he goes, "I'm not my story."
It's beautiful.
It's so powerful. Yeah.
My sponsor says 10 miles in the woods, 10 miles out of the woods. Like it just takes us time. But what I've discovered in this journey, because I too have cringy,
right?
And cringy is like a cute word for some of the moments I have. But those have turned out to be the greatest gift I have to offer other people. So over time and sobriety, I've been able to sit across from other women who have done the exact same horrific things that I thought I should kill myself over, and say, me too, and show them that there's a way out. And today, those things just don't hold the same power over me that they did even a couple of years into sobriety. So for whatever that's worth, I thought I would share.
Yeah. My wife put a magnet on the refrigerator that said that, we're better people than the worst things we've done.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Well, Derek, is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience before we wrap?
Nah, there's plenty of people who tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Keep on trucking. Keep your nose down. I don't know. Pick up a book, call your mom.
Awesome.
Eat your vegetables.
Make your bed.
Make your bed. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Derek, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks so much, man. I was shocked when you asked me to do this, and it's awesome, man. It's really cool.
Well, your message is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
thanks for stepping up.
Sure, guys. Nice meeting you.
Thanks so much, Derek, for stopping by. Thanks to you, the listeners. Appreciate your support. If you want to follow us online, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Daily Reflection Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Daily Reflector. You can read about recovery on our blog at blog.dailyreflectionpodcast.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.